This is my first video update coming to you from Athens, Greece on this rainy Wednesday morning. Let's talk about some news. Let's start things off with the NATO meeting in Bucharest that took place yesterday. It's going to take place today and it'll wrap up. It's a 2-day meeting and it brings together the foreign ministers of all NATO member states. And they got together to discuss what else? Ukraine, of course. They have to talk about Ukraine. And the main outcome of these meetings, according to Bloomberg, is that they're not going to put out a statement saying that Ukraine is ready to enter NATO. What they are going to say is that, in principle, Ukraine should enter NATO, but there is no way that Ukraine is going to enter NATO. That is going to be the statement that they're going to put out today, I believe, probably this afternoon. This is according to Bloomberg, so things could change by the time this video goes up. But Bloomberg is reporting that the reasons why they want to kind of shut the door on Ukraine's entry into NATO, or definitely play it down or water it down, is because you have a lot of NATO member states who are saying that any statement encouraging Ukraine's entry into NATO could lead to some sort of an escalation or a possible hot war with Russia. And there are many NATO member states who do not want that at all. Keep in mind, even Poland, remember that prank call from Lexis and Vovan where they pretended to be Macron? They were fake Macron, and they called Polish President Andrzej Duda. And even Duda, after the missile strike, after Ukraine attacked Poland with those missiles, even Duda was like telling fake Macron, look, Emmanuel, I don't want a war with Russia. I don't want an escalation with Russia. Believe me, it's the last thing I want. So even the most hawkish of NATO member states, even the most hawkish of NATO member state leaders, presidents, doesn't want a hot war with Russia. Though there are NATO member states that definitely would like to encourage some sort of hot war, specifically Latvia, Estonia, Lithuania, and those Baltic states. They continue to try to push the collective West towards a hot war with Russia. Just yesterday, I believe, the Latvian foreign minister, if I'm not mistaken. Let me pull up the article. Yeah, the Latvian foreign minister, Edgaras Rinkēvičs, he urged NATO to allow Ukraine to use its Western-supplied weaponry for strikes deeper into Russian territory. Quote, we should allow Ukrainians to use weapons to target missile sites or airfields from where those operations are being conducted, in reference to Russian military operations, basically saying let's give Ukraine the weapons that they need so that they could hit deep into Russian territory. Estonia, for its part, during this NATO conference, they are pleading with NATO member states to contribute whatever military equipment they have, contribute all their military equipment, if possible, to Ukraine as well. So there are NATO member states that are pushing for escalation. But you also have the NATO member states which are saying, look, let's water down this Ukraine entering the NATO alliance talk, because the last thing we need at this moment in time is a hot war with Russia. The foreign ministers of NATO member states, and this is according to Bloomberg, the foreign ministers of NATO member states are set to reiterate the military alliance's readiness to welcome Ukraine into the bloc in principle. However, they are also expected to make it clear that Kiev cannot join at present. So in principle, according to NATO principles, Ukraine should be part of NATO, according to NATO principles. But in reality, Ukraine's never going to get into NATO, at least not in the short term or medium term, if Ukraine even exists in the medium term, the way things are going. But that is the statement coming out from the NATO foreign ministers in Bucharest. In principle, this is what we feel should be happening, but in reality, this is what's going to happen. So that is the watered down statement from these guys. And once again, by the afternoon, as this conference wraps up, things could change. Of course, you're going to definitely get more pledges for more weapons and more money and stuff like that to get sent to Ukraine, because the fact that they're going to put out a statement saying that Ukraine is not going to be getting into NATO anytime soon, they're going to balance that out with more money to Elensky. That's how they're going to balance out the outcome of this NATO meeting. So Starlink, since we're talking about Ukraine, Starlink, Elon Musk's internet service, which is now a weapon of war, run by the U.S. Pentagon. Well, they are jacking up the prices in Ukraine. They are increasing the fee for Starlink. The monthly fee is going to go from, let me try to remember, from $60 to $75 a month. And the actual hardware, the purchasing of the hardware, which I believe is a one-time fee, that is going to go from $500 to $700. I think those are the numbers, but that is a pretty big price increase. The interesting part about it is that Starlink, most of the fees for Starlink are being subsidized. The costs for Starlink are subsidized by the US, the UK, and Poland. So a lot of these costs are just going to get eaten up by US, UK, and Polish taxpayers. So Starlink is probably saying, you know what? We need to make money out of this thing, so let's just jack up the prices either way. The governments of the collective West, they're going to eat these costs, so let's just jack it up. And also the Prime Minister of Ukraine, I think he came out with an announcement, Schmeichel. He said that VAT for Starlink is also going to be canceled, so you're not going to have to pay the VAT fee for your payments to Starlink. So you have that as well. But Elon Musk, at one time he was the hero of Ukraine. Now he's like enemy number one of Ukraine. But you know, Elon Musk, all his businesses are his major businesses. They're all connected to the government. They're all connected to the Pentagon, the government, the public sector, whether you're looking at Tesla or SpaceX. You know, Elon Musk is highly dependent. His businesses are very much dependent on the government, specifically the government of the United States and the U.S. And the U.S. government also uses Musk's business and technologies as well. So it's this symbiotic kind of relationship. And Starlink now is a tool of the military-industrial complex. It is going to be used to continue to fight the war in Ukraine. It's going to be used by the Pentagon to fight wars in the future. It's going to be used as a tool of regime change and color revolution. This is the future of Starlink, plain and simple. It is going to be a weapon which is going to be utilized by the Pentagon to do the Pentagon's business, to do the Pentagon's bidding. And Musk knows this. All his businesses are highly dependent on the U.S. government, and they work together on a lot, but they're also going after each other as well. And that's what you see in the case of Twitter, for example. You know, the Biden White House and the deep state, they're not too happy with Elon Musk's purchase of Twitter. And not so much the purchase of Twitter, they're not happy with Elon Musk's direction for Twitter. Because if Elon Musk had bought Twitter and he acted like, I don't know, say a Jeff Bezos when he bought the Washington Post, well, then they wouldn't have much of a problem with what's going on at Twitter. But these oligarchs, when they buy these companies, they don't buy them to make money. Now, Elon Musk may decide to, or may have in his plan a way to make Twitter into a profitable company, and maybe into a very big company. I'm not saying that's not probably in his roadmap, but usually these oligarchs, when they purchase media companies, TV stations, football clubs, sports teams, football clubs, usually they buy these things for political cover. For example, in Greece, all of the big time oligarchs, like the really high powered, rich oligarchs, they all own a football club and a TV station, a media company, newspaper, print publication, whatever, right? They all have a combination of those two things. Definitely one of those things, but most of them have both. They have the football club and then they have the media. And it's not because these things make money. The football club, at least in Greece, is a money loser, doesn't make money. And a TV station here is a big time money loser, big time, as are the publications as well. They're not making money. They're not making money from the advertising, especially in a small market like here. Maybe in the U.S. it's different. Most likely in the U.S. it's different. But usually you buy these outlets to provide you political cover. That's why you buy these outlets. That's why you buy a sports team. You buy a sports team because when you buy the sports team, you automatically have millions and millions of fans. And those fans are people that you could throw out onto the street at a moment's notice if something doesn't go your way, if something goes against your business interests, right? If the government decides to pass a law or do something that goes against one of your core businesses, that is your bread and butter, that is making money, well, then you take all your fans of the football club and you throw them all out onto the streets, and all hell breaks loose. And that's the last thing politicians want, or you get them to vote a certain way. When you purchase a sports team, you get millions and millions of followers, like right off the bat. Dedicated, loyal, fanatic followers. So in the U.S., I think it's much of the same. That's why Jeff Bezos bought the Washington Post, not because the Post makes money. I doubt that the Washington Post makes money. I don't even know how does it make money from Google ads. Not making money. But he buys it because he buys political power, political favors, political cover. I think that's a major reason why Elon Musk closed the Twitter deal. I still believe that he didn't want to go all the way through with it because, he probably didn't want to get sucked into that world. I mean, he put himself in a box when the whole Twitter thing happened about buying it. He tried to get out of it. He couldn't get out of it. I don't think the deep state wanted him to get out of it because I think that the deep state thought that Musk was going to be like a Bezos. Once he had purchased Twitter, he was going to be like Zuckerberg and Google and Apple and Microsoft. He was going to play ball like all of the big tech companies. And then they realized that this guy's kind of a loose cannon, and they probably regret it. But even Elon Musk, I don't think he wanted to go ahead with the full purchase. He kind of boxed himself into that situation. That's my opinion. But anyway, it doesn't matter. He got Twitter, and now he's using Twitter as a tool for political cover and political bargaining. That's why he talks about the Hunter Biden stuff, right? I'm going to release the Hunter Biden information that Twitter has with regards to the laptop and all these things. He shouldn't release that. I think he should hold on to that. At least wait for the timing. Wait until the time is right. But don't throw all your cards out there. I think he did a smart thing by mentioning it. I've got these cards. You don't believe me? You think I'm bluffing? Try me. But, that's why. That's why he has Twitter, because he now has access to all of these secrets and all of this information. And of course, he has a platform, a very powerful media platform that he could use for his advantage with regards to his other core businesses, which once again, you're talking about core businesses which are highly dependent on the US government, Tesla, SpaceX. And so, this is the song and dance. You Biden White House, you don't want to do this for Tesla, or you don't want to provide this, or you want to pass a law against Tesla or SpaceX. I'm just spitballing stuff right now. Well, then you do that. I'm going to make the topic Biden is a nitwit. I'm going to make that into a trending topic. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Biden is suffering from whatever, and I'm going to make that into a trending topic. I mean, it's that kind of leverage and power. That's the game that is being played out right now. Anyway, I thought I would bring that up about Starlink. It got a little bit off into a tangent with Musk and Twitter, but no doubt that Musk is now, he is part of the game. He is part of the game in a big way. He is no longer just a businessman. He's no longer just a businessman. He is shaping policy and politics and global conflicts as well. So that is Musk. Let me see if there's anything else on my mind to talk about before I get into a clown world. I don't think so. I think I'll make this into a quick video. Let me, 1 second here. Let me think where I can put this coffee down, because one clown world, I'm going to need my phone here just to make sure I remember the one clown world here. Oh, by the way, Foreign Policy magazine, which is super duper neocon, hates Russia, hates Putin. They said that the war in Ukraine may drag on for years, and a complete victory for Kiev is unlikely. This is what Foreign Policy magazine wrote. According to statements made by some U.S. officials, the author of the article, Stephen Walt, a professor of international relations at Harvard University, believes that the Biden administration may find itself in an awkward position on the Ukraine issue. On the one hand, it is publicly committed to winning the war and hopes that U.S. soldiers will not be involved in hostilities, but the entire national security establishment is helping Ukraine in many ways. On the other hand, the administration also seems to be aware of the risks of escalation, does not want to get involved in a war with Russia, and some U.S. officials seem to believe that a complete Ukraine victory is unlikely, writes Walt. What if the war does indeed end in a messy and frustrating compromise rather than a happy Hollywood ending most of the world would like to see? That is a quote from this Foreign Policy article. This is exactly what I said in my video yesterday, which is that Bloomberg has given the Biden White House an off-ramp, a way to declare victory and to get out of this mess. And Biden should take it. If Biden had good advisors that were really looking after his best interests, then they would urge Biden to dump Ukraine onto the European Union. Get out now, declare victory, get CNN, get MSNBC, get the Zuckbot, get Google, get Amazon, get Apple, get all of the big tech, all these guys, get them all to put out the narrative that the U.S. and the Biden White House, they've scored a major foreign policy victory in Ukraine. NATO is more united. NATO Pacific, or the Pacific nations, the allies in the Pacific. I said NATO Pacific. That may be coming in the future, but the allies in the Pacific are ready to take on China. Look what is going on in China right now. Look at how united the Pacific is with regards to taking on China. What else? Russia. You can put out the narrative that Russia's military is in tatters. Russia's economy is in tatters. Most people that are going to be reading this stuff have no clue. They'll buy into it. They'll believe, Putin's economy is in tatters. The military's in tatters. Bloomberg said rubble. The Russian military is in rubble. Just put out stuff like that. 70% of the population will read it and they'll be like, okay, yeah. And then you can say stuff like Europe is disconnected now from Russia's monopoly on energy, and Europe is also turning its back on Beijing. So Biden has scored a massive foreign policy win. And then you can package it all up, a nice ribbon and a bow, and you can say, now it is time, having invested $97 billion into Ukraine, now it is time to have Ukraine fight this war with the help of Europe, and to promote some sort of peaceful settlement, and then memory hole the thing, and give Biden the victory without risking some sort of Afghanistan debacle. That's what this Foreign Policy magazine article is saying. The more this drags on, the more the Biden White House is risking another Afghanistan debacle. Look what's happening right now in Donbass. All of a sudden, I mean, it feels like all of a sudden. It's not all of a sudden, but it feels like all of a sudden the Russians are just sweeping through the Donbass, and they're going to take Marinka and Ugledar and Bakhmut. And it feels like this was very quick. I mean, this has been a 4-month process, and the Wagner guys, the Wagner group, they've been fighting for 4 months. By the way, the Biden White House is considering designating the Wagner group as a terrorist organization. I'll talk about that in a minute. But you have all these things happening, and I think there are certain people in the Biden White House that are saying, look, the more this continues, the more we risk another Afghanistan defeat and PR debacle for you, Bidenopoulos, Greece's favorite son. So let's just get out of this now. And you know what? This is what I would tell Biden if I was there with him. Greek to Greek, Greek to Greek. I would say, yo, man, Biden, listen to me. Buddy, friend, dump it on the EU. Dump it on the EU. Yeah, they'll be upset for a day or two, and they'll be mad that you dumped Ukraine, all of Ukraine on them, but they're going to take it. They're going to accept it. Where else can they go? Europe has nowhere to go. Where are they going to go? We've blown up the pipelines. They're severing their relationship with China and Asia as well. So they have nowhere to go. So even if they're upset with the fact that you've dumped all of Ukraine onto them, they have no choice. They're going to have to come back to us. They're going to be dependent on us because they have no other place to go. I mean, you blew up. I would tell them, I would be like this, Joe, we blew up their pipelines and they said nothing. Trust me, dump Ukraine on them. They're not going to say anything. Get out of this. Score a PR victory. Go to the American people. Tell them what a great foreign policy victory you've achieved. Let's get out of this thing and move on to the next thing, the next regime change, color revolution thing, or whatever else they could be cooking up. Anyway, that's what I would tell him. And that's what foreign policy is telling him, by the way. This is exactly what I was talking about yesterday in my video with regards to that Bloomberg article. The Wagner Group, good for business for what's the academy? Academy is that is the mercenary group. What's the guy's name? Prince. Anyway, I forgot the guy that has Academy. I think they used to be called. I forgot what they used to be called. I wanted to say Blackwater. Is that correct? I think maybe Blackwater. I always get it confused. Black Rock, Blackwater. Anyway, I believe they're now called Academy, but designating them as a terrorist group is all about business for the mercenaries of the collective West, right? Designate these guys as a terrorist group and make it difficult for them to operate around the world. And the contracts go to the collective West mercenary groups. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting side story There's also the side story about that the Pentagon is considering Patriot missiles as well to Ukraine. The Patriot missile defense system. They're actually considering that as well. Elensky wanted more planes. This is a good segue into my one clown world. Elensky wanted planes, lots of fighter jets, but instead the Pentagon said our priority is air defense. So they're actually now thinking about Patriot defense. That's what they're thinking about. So Elensky, he wanted planes. He's not going to get them. He's going to most likely get Patriot air defense. But he also put out this video, and I'm going to put it up on the screen for you. So Elensky was talking about 2030, making Odessa the city for the World Fair in 2030. And at the end of this this video statement, you'll see it up on the screen. He talks about the reconstruction of Ukraine and how Ukraine is going to be a beacon of democracy and hope and all of these things, blah, blah, blah. And then he gets to his ask. And he says, it's going to need $1 trillion to get everything up to speed. $1 trillion. It's life imitating art, isn't it? Because it reminds me of Austin Powers. You know, Dr. Evil, when he's like, what we want now is $1 million. And then they're like, Dr. Evil, $1 million in today is not that much money. And he's like, oh, really? Well, we want $1 billion. No, $100 billion. That's basically what's happening. So Elensky now wants $1 trillion. $1 trillion. Why not? Why not make it 2 trillion while you're at it? That 5 trillion sounds good. So yeah, that's Elensky. He knows that he's not going to get $1 trillion, but he might as well ask. Maybe he'll get 500 billion. Maybe he'll get 300 billion. Maybe he'll get 5 billion. It doesn't matter. Any money that is coming his way, it's all good for him. He pockets it and goes on his merry way. Anyway, that is the video. I think I had another clown world, but kind of forgot it. Anyway, that's the video. theduran.locals.com. We are also on Rockfin as well. And go to the Duran shop, 10% off. Use the code GOOD DAY. Take care.